How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Beam Review. Today we're going to be going over the truth about BMW reliability, maintenance, and the cost of ownership. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, Beam Review, what we do here is teach you everything there is to know about your BMW. We also do some really cool hidden tips, tricks, and features reviews. So if that's something that you want to learn about, subscribe to this channel because we put out content every single week. And before we get started, we did want to mention our top selling BMW courses for the X3, the X4, and X5. The courses are selling like crazy. And if you do want to learn everything there is to know about your BMW X3 or X5, check out these top selling courses, and they are providing a great value for many newer BMW owners. By taking this course, you will learn everything there is to know, and not only that, it will save you tons of time in the process. The links for these are going to be right down below, so check that out at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First off and foremost, BMW reliability. Now, we get this question all the time: are BMWs reliable? Is this going to be a brand or a car that I could keep for a very long time? And how long is it going to last me? Now, granted, in the past, BMWs have been known to be very unreliable. I will admit this. And what I mean by this is about 20 years ago, but now BMWs have came a very long way. If you don't already know by now, BMWs are considered one of the most reliable vehicles to date. Now, if you don't believe me, an article was published by Consumer Reports ranking BMW as number 3 as most reliable, and not only that, it did beat Honda, and it is right behind Lexus and Toyota, which are known to be the most reliable of all time. So from what I know, Consumer Reports does do their studies over the last 2 years, so it is safe to say that for BMWs that were created within the last 1 to 2 years are going to be probably one of the most reliable ones of all time. Now, if you were wondering what are the top 5 most reliable vehicles, from what I've read, that on the lower end of the BMW spectrum, if you stick to those are going to be your most reliable ones. And what I mean by that is vehicles like the 3 Series, the 4 Series, the X1, the X3, and X5s. If you want the most reliable BMW, stick to those 5. You can't go wrong. They have been rated extremely reliable, and for those 5, they have been rated that way for years now, not just the last 2 years. Consumer Reports is one of the biggest and longest running car review magazines of all time, so they are a very, very reliable source, if not the number 1. So again, to put it in a nutshell, yes, BMWs are reliable now. And one of the biggest things that I will mention is that over the last 2 years, BMW has not been introducing drastically anything new, which will help the numbers a whole lot. Only whenever you do introduce a brand new vehicle is typically whenever you're going to find the most bugs. So that goes to my second point, and this goes for all brands, not just BMWs as well. If you are somebody who buys a brand new redesigned BMW or any brand of car on its first year mark, it is safe to say that that first year vehicle is not going to be the most reliable one, because there are going to be a lot more adjustments that are made along the way. A good example of these vehicles that just released the past year from BMW are going to be vehicles like the iX, brand new 7 Series. Again, these vehicles are brand new, and not only that, they do come with a brand new iDrive 8 system too, so they are not going to be the most reliable vehicles that you can get right now. But again, BMWs that have been out for a few years now, those are going to be extremely reliable, and you will not go wrong jumping into those BMWs. Not only that, if you are concerned about the engine, these engines are shared and swapped through all different types of vehicles. Say, for example, the BMW 3 Series and 4 Series, and even the X3 and X4s, they do come with a 30i engine, which is known to be very, very reliable. Not only that, if you go into the more mid-tier BMWs, they do also have the 40i engine, which is also extremely reliable. And let's not forget, BMW also has a V8 twin-turbo engine that is known as the 50i engine. That is also extremely reliable as well. Those 3 engines are going to be known to be the most reliable ones, and they are so reliable that they are shared and swapped through different types of series and BMW SUVs within the lineup. In terms of reliability and how far you can drive the BMWs, granted, these vehicles can be driven up to 250,000 miles, but many Jews tend to get rid of the vehicles after about the 100k mark. Yes, they can continue to drive well past the 100k mark, but the only reason why people do tend to get rid of them around that mark is quite honestly because the parts and maintenance during that point forward is going to be much more on the expensive side. So if you are somebody who plan on driving very low miles, say for example between 0 to 100,000 miles, BMWs is going to be a very great option for you. Not only that, if you are somebody who leases BMWs, you're going to be in very great luck, because the first 2 to 3 years you actually don't even have to pay for maintenance, because they do have a program of the first 3 years, 36,000 miles, you don't have to pay for maintenance at all. So definitely remember that, because that is a program that is not included in many of the other brands, and something that could affect your buying decision. And that brings us to the maintenance. Now, maintenance for BMWs is, in my opinion, quite overrated. The vehicles are not that bad in relative to the price in terms of their maintenance. And again, as long as you're keeping the vehicle for less than 100,000 miles, the maintenance is honestly not that bad. One of the things that I will mention is that the first 3 years of the life of the vehicle, you're not going to be paying too much maintenance because again, the vehicle is going to be new. It is only going to be around year 4 and 5. You're going to expect to pay much more in terms of your maintenance, and your biggest first hit that you are going to encounter is going to be the brakes. Now, whenever you do get brand new brakes, rotors, and pads, it is recommended that you do them all 3 together. And whenever you do that, that first hit of maintenance could potentially set you back up to $1,200. But aside from that, the oil changes and the rest of the maintenance, such as oil changes and air filters, are not going to be too bad. Again, the brakes are going to be one of your biggest hits that you encounter, and then along the way you're going to also have to do a transmission fluid, and again, that you don't have to worry about until year 4 or 5. So in my opinion, BMW maintenance is not as bad as people make it out to seem. Again, in relative to the price that you're paying for a BMW, it is going to be something that is completely reasonable. Many do question why BMW parts and services are very expensive, and this is going to be a really great example. Again, if you're looking into German brands such as Porsche, such as Audi, such as BMW, such as Mercedes-Benz, these parts are high quality parts, and therefore they are going to be more on the pricey side. Not only that, one of the biggest things that BMW focuses on is drive. Again, BMWs are known and they prioritize the drive of the vehicle and everything else second. But if you look at this picture here, you can see a really great example of German engineering versus just your standard engineering. Again, because BMW focuses on the drive of their vehicles, they are going to be using much more parts than your average vehicle. With more parts, more things can go potentially wrong, hence why BMWs are known to be quite expensive to maintain compared to the rest of the Japanese brands. If you are somebody who is looking for a vehicle that you plan on keeping for the rest of your life, again, you could do that with a BMW. It will get pricey after the 100k mile mark, but if you do plan on keeping your vehicle well past that 100k mark, I would strongly recommend that you stick to a Japanese brand such as Honda, such as Acura, Toyota, Lexus. Those vehicles will last you forever, and not only that, you would want to keep those forever because they are going to be cheaper to maintain on the long end. The only downside with those vehicles is, of course, they are not going to drive like a BMW, which is what BMWs are known for, and why I will continue to just stick with BMW for the rest of my life. So yes, BMW maintenance below the 100k mark, you're going to be completely fine. You will be paying quite a pretty penny for brakes, rotors, and pads, but if you are somebody who plan on keeping your BMW after the 100k mile mark, you can expect to be paying much more for maintenance. But again, the vast majority of BMW owners do keep it below that 100 mile mark, and if you plan on doing that too, you will be completely fine. Next up is going to be the cost of ownership. Now, the biggest thing that you need to worry about when owning a BMW is going to be depreciation. These vehicles are known to depreciate really fast, especially if you're going into the top end of BMWs such as the 7 Series and the 8 Series. The 7 Series is actually known to be probably one of the most highly depreciating vehicles of all time, so watch out for that. But if you are somebody who plan on sticking to BMW X5s, X3s, the 3 Series, and the 4 Series, the depreciation for those are going to be much more less. But I will say with BMWs, even say for example the X5, your biggest hit in depreciation is going to be between that 1 to 2 year mark. You can see here on this website on Edmunds how big of a hit the BMW X5 does take. So depreciation is going to be your biggest hit. And if you are somebody who prefer to make the best move in buying a BMW at a more valuable price, it is highly recommended that you get a certified CPO vehicle, because not only do you avoid the depreciation hit, but the vehicle is going to be new enough that you don't have to encounter the repairs and maintenance that come in the long end. Your next biggest cost of ownership is going to be fuel. Quite honestly, fuel is not that bad. Every BMW engine these days is going to be turbocharged, and the benefit that you get with that is not only increased performance, but you also get increased fuel efficiency as well. You can take a look at the numbers of the X5 here. This is going to be your MPG that you can get with this vehicle, and let's not forget that the gas tank size for these vehicles are massive, and if you had an X5, you could potentially drive that vehicle for up to 550 to 600 miles per fill up. If you are somebody who plan on getting a brand new BMW, it is highly recommended that if you want to make a good financial move, to have your first option to be a service loaner. Whenever you go with a service loaner, you also avoid a really big depreciation hit, and you can expect to pay one of the most aggressive prices for a brand new BMW. Granted, it will have about 4,000 to 5,000 miles, but it will save you thousands of dollars if you do go this way. Many would be concerned that if you do get a service loaner, that these vehicles have been driven hard and abused. I will say that the average age of a BMW owner is going to be in the 50s. As much as you want to think that these Star Wars loaners are abused and driven really hard, quite honestly, they are not. And personally speaking, if I were to get a brand new BMW, I would opt in for this one as well. If you were in the market or planning on getting your next BMW, definitely check out Edmunds. They are not sponsored in this video. Love their website because they do give you a whole grid and a whole list of your true cost of ownership that you can expect to pay for the vehicles. So this is going to be a great way that you can get a more realistic number on how much you're going to be paying for a good 5 years of the vehicle. Just to mention things like resale value, BMW SUVs are going to have the best resale value out of the whole lineup. The SUVs are going to be a great demand in the market, so you can expect that the value for these BMW SUVs are definitely going to be on the higher side compared to the rest of the lineup. Again, these are known to be very, very reliable. You're going to have pretty much none to very, very minimal issues with these, so you can be rest assured. Now here's a big one to mention. What if my BMW gets damaged? Now here you can bump into some issues in terms of cost of ownership going out the roof. Again, the vehicle and the parts are going to be more on the expensive side. So yes, BMW rims, tires, you can expect to pay a pretty penny for these, especially the rims. And one of the biggest things that I will mention about rims and tires is whenever you're buying a BMW from your store, you will have the option to get a wheel and tire package. Many question if they should get this or not. My honest opinion, if you have a M Sport vehicle and you do happen to have low profile tires or sporty rims, more likely than not, if you live in an area that has potholes, I would highly recommend you get it. I personally have had this package every single time I have had a sport car, and I am glad that I did because it has saved me tons and tons of money in the long run. So yes, parts can be very, very expensive if you are somebody who tends to get into car accidents or do some vehicle damage, which I hope is not the majority of you. You will be paying a pretty penny in order to get some repairs done. So again, I would only opt in for a BMW if you do consider yourself a good driver, because that is an area where things can get expensive. Do I think that you should get a BMW? Well, I honestly think you should, because I have owned multiple different brands. I have came from Hondas, I have came from Lexuses, Toyotas, Audis, and I will say that the BMW is going to be a brand that I will be sticking with for a very long time. The biggest reason is going to be because of the drive, and not only that, their features and all their technology is up to date and works very, very smooth compared to the rest of the brands, and the whole vehicle itself, technology as well, is very, very intuitive. Yes, parts can be expensive, but as they should, because these are going to be high quality parts that are in the vehicle to help it drive very, very well, which is going to be the primary goal for BMWs. If you are concerned with the reliability, do not worry, because again, as mentioned through consumer reports, these vehicles are known to be reliable, especially in the last 2 years. So you can be rest assured that if you're going with a BMW, you are going to be buying it at a very great time. I have seen many customers stick with BMWs for years and years. Some customers even owning BMWs for the last 15 years or even the last 15 cars. That in itself should give you a great idea on how loyal the customers are to the brand. Once you fall in love with the BMW, once you drive it and get a really good feel for it, that is going to be when you realize why the vehicles are a great value and known for what they are known. Check out the links right down below for the courses. Again, they are selling like crazy, and by taking them, you will learn everything there is to know about your BMW X3, X4, X5. The links for those are going to be right down below. Many more courses are going to be going up soon, so stay tuned for that. That is going to be it for this video. If you had any questions or if you wanted my opinion on anything, write down the comments below. I tend to respond to every single comment, so feel free to ask away, and I will see you all for the next one. Like the video, subscribe, and again, I'll see you for the next one.